Hi, I'm Horlicks. Today I'm doing a video just to show you how to install your new BlueMaster mod. If you have opted for the fuel pump, this is what you will receive. The BlueMaster mod, the main casing, which I must add will not be painted and will be in parts for ease of painting. Once you've installed and made it look and painted it how you want, then you are ready to carry on with this tutorial. You have the top globe, that will be left off for the moment, and then the base. So let's get started. The first step is to install the BlueMaster mod inside the housing. We can move this to one side and you'll notice there is a hole in the top and a nice hole at the bottom and on the side here. The first step is to take the LED that is connected to the BlueMaster and feed it down through the hole in the top of the housing, like so. Once this is through, you can position the BlueMaster mod inside the housing, and this will get fitted inside here however you wish to. You can use a sticky pad, hot glue, or you could just leave it loose in there if you wanted to. Your next step is to feed the end of your connectors through the hole in the rear. Please note, after recording this hole will be slightly bigger for ease. Once you've fed them through, this is how it should look. The next step is to place the base on the bottom. Now it's up to you. You could glue this, maybe a bit of hot glue, or you could just sit it on there if you're not going to move it, and that keeps everything tidy. The next step is to put a dab of glue on your LED if you want to, and then push that through, and then finally glue your globe on the top. Now you've made your fuel pump mod and you're ready to make the connections to the BlueMaster circuit board, it's a good idea now to sort of plan ahead, decide how you're going to fit these, how you're going to fit this mod. Now we're not going to suggest the best method of fitting because everyone has different projects, dioramas, the way they display their model. So things could be different for each and individual who have built this model. You could simply remove the magnetic cover and leave it off. If you have your bus like mine, which is on the shelf, you're not going to see the magnetic cover at the back. You could simply leave that off and run your connections in directly to the circuit board and just leave the cover off safe, if you're not going to see it. If you're going to see it, or you've got your bus displayed head on and you can maybe see the side, then this is where you need to plan and decide the best method to fit this mod. There is an option to remove a screw from underneath, and there is a good place that you could drill a hole underneath your bus to run the cables in. I am not going to go over how to do that, but it's something that could be done. So we're going to leave that up to you to decide how, because if you run these cables through, the magnetic cover will not fit back on unless you make alternative routing arrangements. But we're going to leave that to you depending on your model and how you want to fit that. Okay, now your housing is set up, it just leaves us to make connections. I have labelled everything on the end of these connectors and we'll go through this step by step. Now for ease of this video, I have the BlueMaster circuit board out. This is actually a spare one I've got for testing purposes, but it just makes it easier for you to see. The first step you would need to do is, if you have Ian's power mod already, you would need to remove this. You can simply do that by removing the magnetic cover where the batteries are, remove the power mod, and or remove the battery pack if you haven't done the power mod yet. That will allow you access to this circuit board, and take your time, and you can use tweezers. Some people may find it easier to unscrew the circuit board and remove it if you have enough cable length. I know the cables are very tight in there, but do whatever you feel is best for you and your model. So the first step is these wires here are just replicating the ones in the bus, just to make it easier. But your first step is to remove this plug that says P. Now this would be the power in from your battery pack or Ian's power mod. So we remove this. Once your power source is removed, on the BlueMaster you would find the connector labelled P1, and we simply connect that in its place. Brilliant. Now you've done that, we've just got a few more connections to make. The next step is to disconnect plug A from the BlueMaster circuit board, just here. In its place, we find connector A1. This will take its place in the BlueMaster circuit board, like so. After that's done, you want to find the connector labelled A on the BlueMaster, and you'll notice it's a female. So the plug you removed from the board will go into socket labelled A. Okay, once that's done, in the same way as the previous step, we do the same with cables L and M. So we remove plug L from the circuit board, which is just here. We then connect L1 from the BlueMaster into this connection. And in the same way, find plug L on the BlueMaster and reconnect the connector you took out from the BlueMaster board. Next we find plug M, which is just here. In the same way, remove cable M, plug in M1 in its place in the BlueMaster circuit board. And then the cable we removed goes into M on the BlueMaster. Great job. You're almost there. You now have a decision to make. We have one more function of the BlueMaster, and that will be for sound. So, there's two options. You can have the buzzer sound or the bell sound. Now I know in the build, Hachette anyway supplied a wiring mod if you would rather the rear platform have a bell sound rather than the buzzer. You can do either of these at this stage. So I will go over option 1. Option 1 is just to have the bell sound if you made the modification during the build. Now this is really difficult for me to sort of show you because I don't have the connector and it's really buried, but once you're into your bus you'll be able to find it. You would need to find connector J, and that is this one here, this 4-pin socket. If you made the mod, there'll be a extender from here, and somewhere further up there'll be a setup a little bit like this. If you made the mod, you will have a cable from your bus that will be labelled K, and that would be plugged in to your J plug here through a splitter, and you would have a cable labelled, it will be labelled K. I hope that makes sense. Once you've found your harness that goes into J and you find the cable labelled K, simply in the same way, I will just reinsert that for illustration purposes. Find K, and in the same way you would take your cable labelled K1, remove the cable K from the BlueMaster and plug in cable K1. You will then find a cable on the BlueMaster which is female, labelled K, where you've guessed it, the one you have removed will go into there. That is option 1, and that will give you the bell option through the BlueMaster app. Okay, I have rewound and removed those plugs. If you wish to go for option 2 and have the buzzer sound, we simply connect, as before, cable K1 into K on the circuit board. So you would remove cable K if you have it in there, plug in K1, and in the same way as option 1, the K cable will still go into cable K on the BlueMaster mod. That will give you your buzzer sound. I would actually like to go over a third option you could do that I have not featured in the manual. Now, assuming you have made the modification and you have the bell sound on your rear platform through the extender cable and mod that they supplied, and you wanted to unlock the buzzer sound as well, you can do that. You would simply leave all of those connections as they are and simply take cable K1 from the BlueMaster and populate the socket K on the BlueMaster circuit board. You will then leave the BlueMaster female connector K unpopulated. What this will do is it will allow you to still use your bell sound on your rear platform manually, but through the app you would be able to activate the buzzer sound. So you're effectively unlocking that sound again if you have made the modification for the bell. Because currently, if you've made this modification, as you may know, there's no way of activating the buzzer sound. This will do that. That is all your connections made apart from one. Next, you want to find the female connector labelled PM on the BlueMaster. This is for the power mod from partworkupgrades.com. It's designed to work with his mod already out. You take the connector from the power mod and simply connect it into this cable labelled PM. You're all done with the connections. So before you plug this in, take your time now to clean up what you've done. Put the wires in neat, run them where you need to run them. When you put the power mod in, Ian's power mod, you can refit that if you want and just run the BlueMaster cables from the side. Just make it fit how you want and then place your model back on your shelf, in your cabinet or wherever you're going to display. Once it's all tidied up, you can then power on the power mod, and now we'll look at the apps. So once you have downloaded the app, you will need to allow your Android device to install third-party applications. Now, I'm not going to go over doing that. It's really easy in the settings, and there'll be other YouTube videos on how to do that. But I believe it will sort of help you do that anyway as you try and install. Once you've allowed third-party installations and you've installed the BlueMaster app, you'll have an icon like this. Now, before I open this, I have a really old Android phone because I use iOS. So this is an older phone that I had, and I'm showing you this on here to help as well. So as you saw, this is designed for Android version 11 and upwards. This is still on Android 10, I believe, so it's a little bit older than what it's capable of. However, it should still work for you if you are pre-version 11, and I will demonstrate that now when I show you the app. Now, I would like to just mention this is simulating my bus here. Because it's easier to do it on the workbench, I've added some LEDs here which will simulate the interior exterior lights, the cab light and the destination blinds. It runs the same circuits. I've just put LEDs on instead of all the lights you would have on your model. I've also added a little piezo speaker to demonstrate the sound from the speaker underneath your model. So we start by opening the app. Now you'll notice as soon as I've opened this app, we'll have an error. That is because it is pre-version 11 of Android. So if you are using an older phone, it should still work for you, this app. Just ignore the error, it will disappear after a few seconds. And I'll demonstrate that now. We get an error 908. Just ignore that, it will go away and everything will still function as it should. So once you have the app downloaded and you open it, make sure your Bluetooth is switched on, and then we simply power on your model. So there is power getting to this now, and you can tell because the globe is lit on the mod. We push scan and then we push stop. When status says stopped, we can scroll down the list of available devices and you will see one that says BlueMaster. It will have a random number on the end depending on what, that will change, but it will say BlueMaster in capitals. We then simply highlight that so it goes grey, and then we push connect. When it's done, that will disappear and we will have status connected. We are now ready to operate our BlueMaster. So let me demonstrate. We have a selection of 5 buttons here, all on and off, which does what it says. Destination blinds, interior and exterior lights, so that's your headlights and all the lights inside and the indicators and everything. The cab light, above where the driver would sit, and we have the bell. Now the bell will change depending on how you wire this up according to the options. Pushing all on and off, our bus will ding or make the sounds, and that you've so if you've selected option 2 and you get the honk honk, the bus would do that instead. And as you can see, it's turned on the model. All off, it turns everything off. Again, you get the audible from the bus to say that that's happened. Destination blinds, we can click that. Now you'll notice that the audible sound didn't happen. That only does it for all on off because it activates all of the buttons at the same time. That is our destination blinds illuminated. We can push that again and it will turn it off. The same for interior and exterior lights. And the cab light. If you want, when you push bell, obviously depending on your option again, it will make the sound you've told the wiring to do. So if you've plugged it into that harness K, you'll get the bell. If you've plugged it into K on the board, you'll get the buzzer sound. Let me demonstrate that now. Bell. We have the audible bell. Let me just pause this video for a moment and I will reconnect cable K1 into K on the circuit board to demonstrate the other option you could have when installing. I'm back. I have now removed cable K1 from the loom and I've connected it into connector K on the circuit board, which would be option 2 previously on the video. With that being done, we now have this. I hope that demonstrates the options for you. That is the Android app. What we will do now is take a look at the iOS app, which unfortunately isn't as fancy as this one. So now we move on to the iOS app. Now unfortunately it's not as glamorous as the Android app that I've managed to create with the help of Marvel Phoenix over on YouTube, so thank you very much for that. Little shout out for you. iOS is a lot more difficult. I don't have an Apple computer to be able to try and attempt to make an app or port that app over, so at the moment we're going to have to use a third-party app to do the controlling for me, and that is DSD Tech Bluetooth, and that's what the icon looks like, and you'll find it in the App Store. So what we'll do with this is open the app, and it will start scanning automatically once you've initially set the app up. It may ask you to allow Bluetooth and things when you first start the app up, so just OK it all. And then when it stops scanning, you'll see there it says BlueMaster. We can then select BlueMaster and then it will go blue with a tick to show that it is now connected to your BlueMaster. Once that's gone blue and ticked, you can then click it again and it will open up this. As I say, it's not as glamorous. Now, with your mod, you'll get supplied the instruction manual, and on the middle page where it says about the apps, we have our commands here at the bottom. So instead of a button, we use this bottom box here. We have to type in our command manually as per the instructions. So 150 colon, and the colon is very important. We can then type that in and click send. And that will activate our bus. Now, as you just saw, very rarely, if you push the button and nothing happens, just push it again. It could be a number of things like interference from nearby Wi-Fi or anything like that, but most of the time it's fine. So we can then turn that back off. Okay. If we change that to 160, and it's very important that you put those two in, we can send that, and that will turn on your destination blinds. (170) in the same way, will turn on your interior and exterior lights. "180", when that is typed in, will send your cab light. And finally, if we do 190, that will do the sounds that you have selected, whether it be that buzzer sound or the bell sound, again depending on how you have wired your mod up. So I appreciate this isn't ideal, however it's what all I can come up with at the moment for iOS devices. Now just remember, I'm just a modeler in my room just having fun, so you know, to be able to even have anything like this is pretty amazing, and I can't believe it, and I have a lot of people to thank for that, including Todd, Marvel Picks over on YouTube, Ian at Partwork Upgrades, and many more, DS Models for the help, loads all over the community. I've had some help, so thank you very much. I figured you're not going to be wanting to turn your bus on and off all the time. I appreciate that, so I think you will probably just be using this command 150. You want your bus to light up, in this case turn that off. You'll turn your bus on when it's in its cabinet. You would use this code 150. It's as simple as that. Now what I must say is I forgot to pick up on the last app. This does not, because of the circuit board design on the existing circuit boards, the app doesn't know states. So let me just demonstrate that now. If I turn the bus off, okay, and then I activate the destination blinds, we'll go with that. If I turn the destination blinds on and leave them on, and then I run all on off, it will actually switch that off and turn on the other lights, because it doesn't remember the state, whether the LED is on or off. So if you're going to do it manually, that is fine, but just remember, when you send all on off, it will just reverse what is already on or off at the time. I hope that helps, and I hope this gives you a bit more understanding on how this Bluetooth app works. Okay, well that is a bit about how to install this BlueMaster mod and how to use the apps. I hope you find that helpful, and I really hope that you enjoy this modification. And I know for many that have your buses in glass cabinets or perspex cases, it's terribly difficult to actually light up your bus. And in my opinion, this bus deserves to be lit all the time. It just does not do it any justice unlit. Unlike some models, you may build it and you won't touch it for years, you know, it's just there as a static piece, but I think this bus really does deserve to be lit up all the time, however you are displaying this. So I hope all that helped. My email address is in the instructions. You can also comment on this video below if you have any other questions. I'll try and get to them as quickly as possible. But remember, everything is inside the manual that will come supplied. So thank you for taking the time to watch this, and good luck with your modification. See you next time.